My name is Adam. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEO of CloudOlive.
My name is Enrico. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of CloudOlive. So we met at an event organized by a VC firm here in Sydney. And I remember Adam came to me. I don't remember actually if it was me coming to you to me, but the conversation went something like, what do you do for a living? And I remember answering, well, you know what, I build software, I build SaaS. And Adam replied something like, well, guess what, I sell software. And that was pretty much the very few sentences that we share with each other.
And then just to add to that, so the VC analyst that we worked with, their whole concept and business model is they bring, for us, we had 80 founders, nobody knew each other. And it was a 12-week program, that's what we knew. And throughout that, it's about running as many design sprints, working with an array of, like speed dating, array of different founders, trying to settle on a problem area. And it was fascinating because we went so far and wide. Like I would come home one day and be like, I'm about to start a startup in climate tech. And then the other one, there was a guy who was doing reinforced learning, like this new wave of AI. This was before obviously the now wave of AI. And I was like, I have to get involved with this. And every day there was a new multi-billion-dollar company that we're going to get solved. And what I learned through that was, I don't understand those things. I don't have any idea. I'm no subject matter expert in there. So Enrico and I, for the next sort of 6 or 7 weeks, we speed dated all these other people, and we just kept coming back to one another. And the fact that the build and sell and domain expertise, which is sort of the 3 pillars, we have them in the founding team with very little crossover. It's such a nice unit, like a puzzle coming together. At week 7, we were like, with or without Antler investing in this. So at week 11, you pitch your idea and hopefully investors like what you do and they give you money and then away you go. At week 7, Enrico and I went, regardless of what the outcome is, we're gonna give it a crack. Fortunately, I think Antler really liked us to say that to them. We're like, we don't need your money. We're gonna do it regardless. So we're like, we'll just throw some money their way and we'll get them started anyway. And that was many years ago now.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure that Antler loved the idea at the beginning, but they somehow they bought into our team as being complementary and being able to build and sell.
I think realistically, can you build something and can you sell something is so obvious, but it's 2 pivotal pieces that you can't get a startup moving at all without either one of them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you pick any problem, you start building a solution, you keep iterating around that solution until you find product market fit, and if you can build it and you can sell it.
Yeah, and actually one of the other things I remember, I almost had like a shopping list of who I wanted to found a team with, and one of the things for me was, have they had prior experience in the past in doing a 0 to 1? And when I met Enrico, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's done he's been in this game for 15 years now, 10 plus years. He's got some battle scars. I'm sure I can learn from him very, very closely. And that's translated into exactly what I was hoping for. Probably his beautiful hairline. I mean,
probably, right? It must be that, right?
For someone who's done so many startups with such a luscious locks of hair, I can't compute this.
How about my accent? Let's should the accent as well.
Yeah, right? I think there were some cool things, right? Enrico's background was also, you tell this better, of course, but comes from a really small village in northern Italy. And one of the things that he noticed that he wanted to travel the world and get away from there. So I gave all the focus in the world to becoming a professional tennis player. So that innate drive that underpins him, I come from a different sort of focus around sport as well. And I get that if you're in that and you're that sort of obsessed on something, and all these things need to come into alignment from body, mind, and health and all the rest, and you just need to be so persistent with it. I was like, well, that thing's going to translate well into building a company and solving some problems.
I'm going to share something publicly today that I'm not sure I've shared with you, but I remember telling Esther, my partner, she asked, why did you pick Adam? She wanted to know why. And one answer I gave is that if I had to go to war, since building a startup, it's like going to war, it's difficult, right? It's rough. And I remember thinking, if ever I have to go to work, I would love to go to war. I would love to go to war with you, because I knew that you were not giving up. And this is exactly what you need in a startup. You need to fight, keep fighting until you make it. And yes, you lose some battles, But if you keep going at it, you're gonna make it. And I don't know if I ever told you, but it's one of the reasons, not the only one, but it's one of the reasons.
Snap, and same, right? That's thinking about Enrico's sporting pedigree underneath it. I was like, that to me, although I didn't have that specific conversation, it was obvious that he and I were going to be in the trenches for as long as it takes. No ifs, no buts. And also coming back to Antler, I think that translated to them as well. They were like, we don't want to not be on the train with them. Yeah. So we'll place a bet in their direction.
Yeah, true. Oh, very, very complex spreadsheet, I would say. And I'm spending a lot of time building a lot of logic into a Excel spreadsheet, and then day by day, step by step, taking the complexity out of the spreadsheet and putting in a software solution. Probably you can probably.
I think I was so weak at Excel. Like I'd place myself a company with ChatGPT as a little co-pilot with me. I would imagine I'm like at a 9. Maybe not quite that high, but really, really strong these days. Back then I was terrible. Terrible. Could do a few plus and minus functions, but I think going back to the early origin where we had vendors or clients of ours give us 17 odd vendors all in different layouts. I think there was like a 6-month period where I was like, I don't know if this is solvable. Like I don't think, I can't see how this is solvable. And I'd say this stuff to Enrico.
You were underestimating my capacity.
I couldn't picture how are you going to blend this and group this and break this and do this and all the rest of it. And I remember countless times Enrico was like, I couldn't solve it in Excel, right? So there was times where I'd be like in a calculator and type something in, and then that was the exception report, and I'd make a note for myself to not forget about there was no formula in a place. Enrico often would be like, I bet you I can build that in the product before you can solve it in Excel. And I was like, nah, no chance. And then lo and behold, I now we don't have that conversation because I know the outcome that it's going to be in the product before I can work it out in Excel. You go, man. I love hearing your answer to this.
Well, I'm not sure it's the one that you heard, but I think so. The mission, it's a very good question, because the way I would describe our mission is making sure that all the different layers associated with purchasing and optimizing SaaS are connected together. One thing I realize is that there are many layers and they're all disconnected, like going from the vendor, like building software, and how the vendor make sure that the software is used by the end customer. And in between, you've got distributors, you've got MSPs and so forth. And all this flow is very not disconnected, right? So I like to think of us as building the infrastructure for the whole ecosystem of SaaS ecosystem to be able to work effectively, right? And manage all the flow of information from the vendor till the end customer. And of course, now we're focused on fixing the problems of MSPs. But there's so much we can do, right? And our vision is to connect all the layers.
And one of the things that we talked about, even on our initial slides to get investment from Antler, was the terminology that made innate sense for us was the supply chain for software.
Yeah.
And that can naturally encompass a lot of things, and we're so acutely focused in solving this across the board for all MSPs. But in order to truly solve this, the manual nature from 4 years ago to the automation we have now to where we're going into the near and distant future, we'll look back at the slides, and although they were terribly drawn up once upon a time, like we'll look back.
They were okay.
They were pretty basic. I had to do those. They were pretty basic, but the messaging around it, we've been completely on point to it, step by step by step, and we will just continue to do what we're doing, and we will arrive at the supply chain for software.
And every milestone we said we would do, we're actually executing on those, and it's amazing to see that. There are two things that shocked me. I'm not sure that's the right word, but two things. One is the complexity and all the moving parts involved with product one, which is the reconciliation, like invoices reconciliation. That's probably one, the complexity of it. But the second thing that I would like to mention is how the MSP world is nice. Like, people in this industry are so nice to each other, like in terms of opening up and giving us access to their system, or just helping us building the solution. By the way, one of the reasons, I'm sure one day we'll look back into our success, and one of the reasons why we're successful, it's because we are building the solution with our customers. And that answers your question. Like, our customers, MSPs, are so open and so nice with us and building the product literally building the product with us. And to me, that's amazing. I didn't expect that.
There's nowhere to hide in this game at all, period. So you build something, you get excited. Even earlier, you get excited. You spend a lot of time and effort and money to build something. When you ship it, people may or may not interact with it the way that you thought that they would. I think we had some pretty severe black eyes early on when we tried to fast track this thing and build something that truly our customers didn't need. And that was our very first iteration of the product. So we ran out of money in that first phase, and that's where I think looking back, we're very lucky that we had that so early on. We were able to get through it, but we viscerally felt we can't operate in that manner. And for me, first-time founder, I needed that. Just to be told from the market, put your big boy pants on. There's no messing about here. And I think that's as one of the co-founders, like the buck stops with us, right? And if you ever think, if something needs to be done, like, you have to do it. You have to do it there and then on every single front, because there's no other choice. And that's the quicker you learn that and just operate around that mantra, the better. And that's could be all day, every day for a period of time. So I think that's, for me, it's the quality. It's the honesty of the feedback. If you build something, the market will eventually provide the honest feedback, and you can cook up as much as you possibly want in whiteboards and discussions and Zoom calls. It means nothing until the customer interacts with it in some fashion, and that's the moment you learn so much. And the importance of not having or not following vanity metrics, as an example. The importance of really, really focusing on what customers really need, like, and removing everything else. It's being laser focused on, what solves the problem for your customers. And if you build something they don't like, they're gonna tell you, right? So, well, they won't tell you,
or they won't use it. Or they won't tell you, but in that case, they won't use it, and you would know. So. I can answer that one.
Yeah, go.
For me, so if the question is solo founder or having a team, it's been proven by research that it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you make sure that in the core team of your company, if you're alone, well, that's you, but you need to have all the skills that you need to take the company from wherever it is and make it succeed. It's very important, if you're alone, to recognize if you're missing some skills, right? And it's rare that one person can do everything, right? But in general, it's more about like finding the right fit for you, finding the right skill that helps the company grow. For us, it's very obvious. Like, it can't be easier than that, even on a daily basis. Like, I like what I do, he likes what he does. We get along, we make strategic decisions together, and everything works fine.
So there's no overlap, but enough overlap that overlaps over the product decisions that it works perfectly, right? Anything that's not focused around generating meaningful problem-solving technology, I try not to put onto Enrico's lap at all, and just take it away, let him focus, let him build. Don't get me wrong, I call him most days and I bug him with different things, and I get his advice on many, many, many different areas of what we're doing and thinking. And I very much value his experience across all walks of what we're solving for clients, investors, you name it. But I think the going back to why Antler, I think invested was, can they build, can they sell? Is there a deep domain expertise in this thing that they're trying to go after? Yeah. And it's so clearly obvious that there's 10 out of 10s across the board in those three areas. Yeah. We've been there and done that with it. But I think it's just a nice sort of, everything leans on us communicating quickly, effectively to build great product.
Yeah, and I can even answer that. While you can be you can build a company as a solo founder, 50% of companies, by research, 50% of companies break because of founders not getting along. So if you decide to join, like two people decide to join and build the company together, you have to make sure that it's the right fit and it's the right team. Otherwise, that can lead into breaking the company.
I think we've been very lucky with the people that have chosen to work with us, or that we've reached out with. I think that everyone, like, that's way above, like, to say that we're a small team and a unit and what we've done in, like, the reach across 15 plus countries and hundreds of customers now. Yeah. And it's really important to us, I think, to keep it a really tight-knit, extremely high output company, that we all understand our lanes, what the expectations are, and then just giving people the freedom to try and be successful in their own world. I think we've got an amazing account executive out in Europe. She just gets on with things. Like, she just does her stuff and does it extremely well.
That's what you want, right? That's
what you need.
That's what you need at this stage. That's what you need.
Yeah, there's not enough. Like, we've mishired, I guess, if we bring on someone that doesn't quite fit that mold, and it's on us to make sure that. Yeah. And pretty much everyone that's working with us now, we've had prior relationships with in the past. So I think for the first 15, 20 maybe, ideally even longer, but being able to handpick people that you've worked with on the peripherals or worked very closely with, and they've just been awesome. Generally, if in the first couple of meetings, you've got a memory of that person being a high output person. Chances are they are, and they're just going to slot in really nicely.
Yeah. That, and I would just add that it's energy. At the end of the day, they need to bring energy, like good energy, good vibes, and they need to buy into the product, the problem that we're trying to solve, right? So good energy, good vibes, and then a willingness and a commitment to fix the problem that as a company we decided to fix. Plenty, but I'll let you go with it. But have fun.
So much, like the foundation that's there now is a really, really exciting time. Profitable company, growing with so many ideas and so many problems that we've witnessed. And now we just go out and execute on them. For us, I think breaking into sort of chapters, right? The next chapter for us is executing on the Microsoft integration that's now live. NC Easy. Anyone reselling Microsoft, this thing will solve 4 to 5 problems that you've got that you're like, I wish I could solve that. We're doing things manually. Things around the renewals, who's assigned to what license, making sure that you're buying and selling the right commit terms and frequencies and all the rest of it. Like, super cool, super cool. And that's been 12 plus months in the making. It's now live and ready to rock and roll. Moving forward, we want Megan, who's our epic account executive in Europe. We want to replicate Megan multiple times over on every corner of the globe. As soon as we can find them. So we'd love someone in the Australia region, Australia, New Zealand, and then the US. Like, we've had a third of our client base and revenue out in the US, and we haven't got any feet on the ground there. And it's just an amazing opportunity for us to go, right, finish off what we're doing now, move into scaling next calendar year in 2025, and just have the relentless focus on product and engineering the right capability and staying closer to our customers and obsessively close to our customers. So we can just make sure that the problems they're about to have, CloudOlive has this thing that's just perfectly engineered for them. They never knew this magic software could keep building the way that it is. So that's for me.
And we've got a roadmap for next year. I don't want to say too much, but we've got some amazing features coming up next year. Our roadmap is amazing. Like I'm not going to lie, I'm very excited for what is coming up now and for what we're going to deliver next year.